Hello, my name is Dirkje.
And my name is Martijn, and this is a tribe of the fox. Now, a while ago we made a video called Heathen Reflections, and that's the same format as what we are doing now. So Dirkje and me are going to have a conversation about some heathen topics, and this time we want to talk about the path that we have walked in our lives, and give you some advice for if you want to walk the heathen or pagan path. So yeah, look at this here, people. This is an old history book that my parents gave me in the late 1980s. So I was about 10 years old, 9 years old maybe, and it's called Our Fatherland's History. And immediately I went to the Germanic section to read about the deities of the Germanic people, as young as I was. Now, my parents gave me this book when we were on holiday in the most beautiful part of the Netherlands, the Veluvian area, or Veluwe in Dutch. And that's exactly where Dirkje is born and raised. So let's ask Dirkje, how was it to walk a heathen path in that Bible Belt area? Because that's basically what the Veluwe is. So please tell us if you like.
Yeah, it's a funny path if you consider that I am raised as a Christian and a quite Orthodox Christian. Yeah, like you are a sinner and you are going to hell, and you have to admit that Jesus died for you, and in the Veluwe area. So there are quite good things in my youth, but also quite strange things if you look at the Christianity surroundings where I was raised. The nice thing was that I was always walking on the countryside as a child, staring into the water, looking for little creatures, animals, dreaming about all the things, connecting with nature as a child can do. So that was nice. I was raised in a farmer country area. And the Christian part, I was always thinking, it is so not logic that they preach that God is love, but if you do other things than God wants, you go to hell, you are a sinner. And then Jesus has to die on a cross, and then you have to admit that Jesus will save you, and then you will be saved. But then God's son has to be on the cross. I thought it is so cruel and unlogic. So I was always searching for meaning, searching for spirituality, searching for the truth. And later on I moved to other parts of the Netherlands, and there I came in contact with Wicca. And that was interesting for me during that time. I did join a coven, and there I found the same dogmatic attitude, like you have to wear a cloak, you have to have a knife, a black knife, a kind of hierarchy, a high priest and high priestess. And I thought, oh my God, again, that same shit. I don't, my value is that I am very, very, it's very important. Freedom is for me very important. So yeah, that's funny. And during the years, I investigated so many things, but mostly about the Dutch landscape, the ancestors. I'm quite long busy with investing and thinking about that. And sometimes, work and other things are important, and the heathenry and paganism is a little bit going to the background. Yeah, so I did investigate a lot of things and went in nature to search for connection with gods and goddesses and ancestors. And how was that with you, Martijn? How is your path?
Well, I obviously grew up in a very different environment as you did. I mean, you're from the Bible Belt of the Veluwe, and I'm from basically the west of the country that is called Holland, because not the entire country is called Holland, only the west. And that's an urban area, and it was a secular environment, basically, that I grew up in. Although I was always on Roman Catholic schools, but in the Netherlands, that doesn't mean very much, actually. They're not too fanatic here. So, yeah, I just showed you this history book and told you that I immediately went to the Germanic section. And I remember when I was in elementary school, we got history teachings in the 4th class. So then you are about 10 years old, I think. Yeah, 10 years. And I remember that we were talking about the Germanic deities, and we had these little stencils in those days, and we had to cut them out and put them in our notebooks. And that was Wodan, Donar, Freya. I think those were the only ones back then. And all the information came straight from the Edda. But guess what? We are not Scandinavians, we're Dutch. There is a big overlap, but things were a bit different here than in Scandinavia. So that never let me go. And unfortunately, society was basically telling, yeah, those were the old gods and they are dead. I mean, they don't exist anymore. And Christianity came. But I never believed in Christianity, never. I even disliked it because it's such an unnatural philosophy. Yeah. And I remember that as a young man, I was always reading the Edda poetry. And I felt very sad that the Germanic deities were a thing of the past. That was what I was thinking that back then. Now I know it's not. Now I know these deities are still alive. They are still here. They're still with us. So yeah, but because society told that it was all old stuff, yeah, what should I do? And I even became a Buddhist monk in my life, because I had a very normal life with a job and my own 18th century house and a car and everything. But that was not satisfying, so I became a Buddhist monk, and I lived also in a Buddhist meditation center and a monastery. And that's where I learned to meditate. And that changes the connections in your brain. It really changes you. And if I look back, then I could clearly see, I can now clearly see that this opened for me the path to heathenry. The path to connecting with my ancestors, the nature spirits, the deities. I was not aware of that back then.
Yeah, because there was a change in your life after you came back from the monastery. Then you started searching again, or how did that go?
Well, actually, that happened in the monastery, because I noticed that Buddhism, although it has an Indo-European origin, it is still very foreign, because it's became more and more Asian over the millennia. Yeah. And I didn't felt right. But I also noticed that the cosmology of Buddhism, and to an extent also Hinduism, well, like I said, it has an Indo-European background, just like the Germanic religion. So I saw the parallels. And I left the monastery and I decided to follow the way of my ancestors. I thought, forget about what people say. I'm going to connect with the ancestors and the deities of our ancestors. Yeah.
And how did you do that? Yeah. How did you do that?
Well, first I made a decision to do that. But then I was with a therapist who gave me breathing therapy. And what happened was, during that breathing therapy, and it was also rebalancing therapy, by the way, I saw the ancestors and I saw Wodan. in my mind's eye. And it was so vivid, so clear. It was like a confirmation from welcome back. And well, that started a whole new path. And I met you.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Somewhere. I met you.
Yeah. That was in 2019, I think. We were joining a training about Northwestern European shamanism in Amsterdam. And during the 2019 is not that long ago, but I was already used to trance, to meditation and trance because of my profession as a hypnotherapist. And so I work already with trance. I did use already trance to connect with ancestors and deities and nature spirits. But there, we're sitting next to each other, and we started chatting, and you were telling me your story, Martijn. And that was funny because every time it was 10 days or something, I think. I don't know, I don't remember. But we were always sitting next to each other. That was funny. But in that training, I really, really felt a big connection between me and Frau Holle, or Bertha, or Hulda. That was so huge that I got very, very emotional, because that was so right. That it is in my DNA, a connection with Frau Holle. And yeah, Frau Holle or Bertha or Hulda, you know, that woman, goddess, felt like she was my own mother or something. And it is hard to explain, because it's quite a feeling that it is a deep feeling in my nervous system, a kind of click, like this is my belonging, this is my heritage, you know? And during that training, Martijn, we did do a lot of things. We are not going to mention everything. But,
a lot of things.
A lot of things. That was unbelievable nice to be with other people, and to practice. We did do a lot of practices. And what was for you the main thing that you got from that training for yourself, Martijn?
Well, we learned techniques to do more shamanic journeying and to connect with ancestors, nature spirits, and deities. But I, by the way, done 2 courses there. So the one with you, and later I done an education to work with the dying and the dead and the people who are crossing over. But in both courses, it felt like an initiation. That was at least as important as the techniques that we practiced. Yeah, absolutely. So, and there was another important thing. Both of us discovered that our foxes, our spirit animals, they connected with each other. And that's why we are the tribe of the fox. We discovered it there in Amsterdam, of all places, in the busiest city of the Netherlands.
It was quite unbelievable, because I suddenly saw a fox in my mind's eye, and it was a being in my system. And then I saw another fox, and I thought, that is odd. Another fox, and I saw 2 foxes, and I knew that the other fox was somebody else's fox.
It was mine. It was mine.
It's so it's so funny. And the funny thing was, my husband, he saw also that there was a fox with me. So that's also nice. That was also a kind of proof, you know, that somebody else also saw a fox. So I don't remember if we spoke about that during then. Do you?
Well, I think it was slightly later, because in the beginning we didn't have a name for our project, so to speak, because it turned into a project pretty soon. Dirkje invited me to come to her place, to the Veluwe area, to sit on burial mounds, because the Veluwe is littered with burial mounds. There are thousands of them.
Yeah.
And that progressed into making a website, a Dutch website. And then in 2020, it was, I think, we started our, 2020, we started this YouTube channel. And we made many field trips together and we're in contact. So,
yeah, sometimes with other people, because we have also heathen and pagan friends who join us. But it's always special if you are gathering and investigate and going into the experience, you know, and then you can experience things, going into trance. And then for me, it looks like, I'm not psychic or something, but sometimes it feels like that if you are doing a trance journey, that you are psychic, that you can see other things and feel other things. And that is a wonderful, it's a wonderful
and we can
world.
compare. We
That's
also compare our experiences. Sometimes we just don't tell each other what we experienced. Then we say, for instance, let's visit Angerboda, or let's visit Nehalenia. And then we compare our experiences. Or if we walk in nature, we can pick out the places that have special energy. We just have to look each other in the eyes and we know. And that we can even do that in urban areas. We were in a city here in the west of the Netherlands. We were walking in a very old street. And both of us felt at the same time a dark energy.
Yeah.
And there were two alleys, one on the left and one on the right. And both of us said, no, it's not this street, it's that alley on our left side. And then we entered and we compared our experiences.
Yeah.
And that's how we operate. And this happens in the forest, this happens in cities. Because if you're a heathen or a pagan, I always hear heathens speak about forest. And that's good. However, cities have a whole energy of their own. And within cities, there are places with different energy than in other places in that city. So you can do your heathen pagan witchcraft training partly in the city as well. Although, of course, you also need to go to the forest.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Netherlands is not such a big country, so we travel through the whole country to visit.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of, it's more now, more people are now interested in ancestors and pagan places, ancient places. So books are written about it in the Netherlands. Some people have made a nice website about the Netherlands and places where you can go and visit. And we are visiting a lot of places.
Yes, and more people are interested in actually experiencing and not just reading and be stuck in their head, but really experiencing, and that's important. So Dirkje, talking about experiencing, if you look back at 2019 when we met, and if you look at now, what has changed in your practice, in your heathen practice?
Yeah, it got much more intensive. Much more a daily way of life. And it was already a way of life, but sometimes, completely focus on other things, maybe because we are getting older or something, but I know much more what I want. And also because of you, Martijn, because if you experienced something and then you tell me, and then I think, oh, okay, let's have a look as well. Let's see what is happening. So it's also stimulating if you have a kind of connection in the things you want to investigate and the things you like. And also my husband is also asking questions, so and interesting in this path as well. I think because of the tribe of the fox, that brought me a lot of new input a new experience, new wisdom as well. So and how is that for you, Martijn?
Yeah, everything you say is very recognizable for me. But when I started our path together, I was in a different energy. I was in the, there's always balance in hedonism, and I was more out of balance towards the energy of the realm of the dead.
Yeah.
And I had immediately an extremely strong connection with the goddess Hela, or Hel with one L. And that connection was so strong that I made over 200 journeys to the realm of the dead.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I did it in 8 months. I did about 160 journeys in 8 months. That was a lot. And I was also very interested in connecting with Wodan in those days. And Wodan is extremely difficult to connect with, I think. And I heard this from more people. Wodan comes to you when he wants. So it's very difficult to work with him. But I noticed that my energy is changing. I cannot access Helheim, the realm of the dead, at the moment. I cannot. Hela is not angry with me, not at all, but it's a lesson to go into life energy.
Yeah.
And that is what's happening now. So my life is changing in a positive way, and life and death are more in balance now. So everything is about balance.
Yeah.
And both of us, we discovered so many new deities that were new to us, like Angerboda and Nehelenia and the Midgard snake. We also visited the Midgard snake, for instance.
And it is, for me, it's also, I have had that always, also in my youth, that light and dark is both okay.
Yes.
Most people are searching for only light and only angels or nice deities or nice friendly goddesses, but it is quite tough. It is quite dark, and I like that. I like that, and that was always in my system, But now, because of our path or journey, it's more coming out. It's more because when I mention our work together, then we found out. For me, I found out, and you said also, that we are actually shadow workers.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people call themselves light workers, but that isn't it for me. It's more shadow work, what we do. Also in my work with my clients as well. So,
yes, because these people who constantly speak about love and light and constantly have a smile on their face, they are basically people who, that's my experience over the years, because as a former Buddhist monk, I have seen a lot of things. Those love and light people who overlook their shadow side, well, they don't control their shadow side. And that always goes wrong. So just admit that you have a dark side. So I don't say that you have to become a serial killer or something, not that, but just recognize your dark side. And don't feel ashamed for your dark side. And then you come in balance.
Yeah, and don't feel ashamed, but dive into it. That's interesting.
Yeah, because all these deities that we meet, they all have two sides in them. No one is purely good and no one is purely bad. There's always even fairly rough deities like Angerboda. Has a very, very kind and motherly nature, for instance. But the energy in her realm is rough. So it's possible.
Absolutely. It feels very primal. And if you look at nature, it's not always butterflies and flowers. No. Last weekend we had a very harsh storm here in the Netherlands. Well, there fell a tree on a house in our neighborhood. I mean, nature power is very, very rough and primal. And if you do not look at that side, you put also your own other power away, actually. They call it spiritual bypass. If you go around your own dark sides and go to the light, and then they call it spiritual bypass. Is a nice saying, I think. But especially in paganism and heathenry. You told me, I think, Martijn, that some people are not wanting Loki because Loki is evil and all that kind of things. There are pagan groups, and it is okay. I mean, I don't tell them what to do, but also within paganism, people are neglecting some forces.
Because I remember when we did this course in Amsterdam, we had one lesson about Loki. And the interesting thing was the teacher told us that in previous groups, people were actually calling in sick because they were afraid to work with Loki in that lesson. And then I said, no, I cannot come, I'm sick, I'm crying, blah, blah, blah. That happens, but that Loki is evil is a very Christian idea, in our opinion. He's not the one to mess around with, because he destroys what is not useful for you anymore. And that can be painful. People want to cling to their certainties they have. But Dirkje, we are talking about the hidden path now. But we are going it for many years now. But what about, suppose there are people now listening or viewing this video who are absolutely new on this path. What can people do? They can read books, for instance. To start with. Have you got any good books to recommend for total new viewers?
Completely new viewers. I think first look on the internet. That's quite easy to find things. And there's also a lot of silly things on the internet, of course. If you look at some films and movies about, I don't know them, I don't watch them, but I know there are silly films and videos. But there is a book about the runes, and I brought an English book with me. And this is this book, Northern Mystery and Magic, and that is from Freya Eswin, and it's about runes and about more. And this is in the English language. So she's quite original. She's quite the real deal for me, that woman. So I can recommend you that book. And
we made a book review about it. We have a video about this book as well.
You made a video about this book. Yeah, that's correct. And another book is from Katie Gerard, Cider. The Gate is Open. But I don't know if this is for beginners, to be honest, because but there are lots of rituals that you can get from this book, and trance journeys, and it's quite interesting because this is about the shamanistic part of our own soil. So there are so many books, but I can recommend you these books. I don't know, Martijn, if this is really for beginners, but
well, I have I have a good beginner's book here, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
This one is only available in Dutch, for as far as I know. It is written by Linda Wormhout. Now, she is a shamanic person from the Netherlands that is really, really investigating our heritage in Northwestern Europe. So both intellectually as spiritually. So she has a lot of knowledge, but she has also got a lot of experience in shamanic journeying and all that. So this book is,
it is a shame that it is not in English, but maybe in the future or something. Yeah.
So this book is called Goden en Shamanen in Northwest Europa, Gods and Shamans in Northwestern Europe. And it's written by Linda Wormhout. I really recommend you this book if you are an absolute beginner, or if you are more advanced as well, because this talks about, let's see, Germanic, Celtic, Scandinavian, Sami, also very important, witchcraft in Northwestern Europe, the Wheel of Life, which we also made a video about, working with trees, with plants, with dreams, the realm of the dead, the ancestors. All the important topics are in Goden and Shamanen in Northwest Europa. And then I have a book that's a bit more advanced, also from Linda Wormhout. Now this book is very special. Every chapter is 2 pieces. So one piece is factual knowledge from archaeology and source material. And the other part of the book is about experiencing the practice. So that's a personal thing. And this book is called Seider het Noordse Pad. Seider, the Nordic path. Only available in Dutch, because I think there is just something about books written in the Netherlands. They're just really good. And of course, get yourself a copy of the Edda poetry, but keep in mind that a lot of it has been influenced by Christianity.
Yeah.
Also keep in mind that this is written in Scandinavia. So there's a lot of overlap between Northwest Europe and Scandinavia. A lot of overlap. However, it is slightly different. So this Edda poetry is written quite late. It's written quite late in pagan history.
Yeah.
So that's important. But Dirkje, people can also practice.
Yeah, I think that is so important to go out, search for history of your ancestors. It's quite interesting. Maybe you can search in your family tree, because it's always nice if you are doing the search in your family tree, then you immediately get a connection as well. And also, you can, of course, you can focus on Freya or Donar or Wodan or Odin or whatever, but your gods and goddesses in your own surroundings, they are also important. They're more important, I think, because you have to look in your own surroundings to get connection with also nature spirits. Have you ever felt a tree? Sometimes people are giggling about the idea of hugging trees, but yeah, try it. Yeah, or sit on the water side and feel if there is a kind of being or a connection with a river or a lake or something. And Martijn, you made a nice video about a river in your city area. Yeah. And that's a special river because I felt that as well. The force of that river is very extraordinary. It's wonderful. Also, it's because in the middle of a city.
Yeah, that's a funny thing about you and me. We go out together into cities or the fields or the forests. And what you tell is very important, Dirkje. You speak about nature spirits because the focus of people is always, not always, but for a lot of people on deities. However, that's a pretty, that's a bit missing the point because deities are very important, but what Dirkje said about nature spirits, they are equally important because we live with them on the land. We share our land with the nature spirits. Yeah. And sometimes the overlap between a nature spirit and a deity is very hard, like Nealenia is also ruling the big rivers. So what are you feeling? Are you feeling a river deity or a nature spirit? And yeah, that's very interesting. And what Dirkje said, the ancestors are so important because they made you into who you are for a large part. absolutely
Yeah.
important. Yeah, so
Yeah.
those are important things.
Yeah, you can go your own path. I mean, you always have to feel what is your own path, because a lot of the real history about our spiritual heritage is actually unknown.
Yeah.
So be aware of people telling you exactly what to do and what to believe. And that's a little warning about that. Don't believe everything. Search for your own truth and your own path together, yeah, or alone. I mean, I was a long time, I was doing things alone as well. Yeah, watch out where you connect with what kind of people do you connect in, also within paganism.
Yeah.
Do not look for a guru or I mean, you have many masters on your path, but do not clamp on one guru, you know, kind of guru teacher or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's extremely important what you're saying here.
Yeah.
That freedom is very important, but also experiencing. So if you're new to heathenism or paganism or whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter, then please watch our video about trees, how to connect with them, because in that video, I tell you exactly how you can train yourself, how you can train your intuition, how you can train your intuition by feeling trees with your hands.
Yeah.
And that is so important. If you trust your intuition, then a whole world opens. For instance, Dirkje and me and another man were walking in the forest, and all three of us at the same time looked to the left, to a piece of forest there. And we knew immediately there's something special. And now that's intuition. If you use your mind, you say, no, it's not true, there's nothing there, and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But we went there. We said, hey, our attention was drawn, we go there. It was full of tree spirits, full of it. And that's what, you don't have to be paranormal. That's not, you don't have to be a psychic. That's not what it's about. It's about trusting your intuition. So please watch the tree video. Please watch it.
And stay grounded, because you have to be healthy, and healthy you can be door having your attention in your own body. You know, a lot of people are going to travel over there and living over there and over there, everywhere, but you have to stay grounded. You always have to connect to your own body. That's all. I think that's the most important thing if you're going to do this work. And feel your body, stay grounded. And that's also what you always mention, Martijn. And that is,
because that has to do with the human energy system. If you're only here and reaching out for higher worlds, whatever that may be, or light beings, whatever those may be, then you're here in your head, in your upper chakra and here.
Or there.
However, like here, but it's important to be down there, to be grounded with your feet and well, everything, basically your belly, you know, you have to be really sensitive in those areas to be grounded. And it's so important to have knowledge about the human energy system as well. I'm quite well trained in this, formally trained actually in the human energy system. And it really helps in pagan things. Yeah, so what else is important? I think, Dirkje, we should also speak a bit about cyclic existence. I often do that. It simply means that everything comes and everything goes. Life and death comes and goes. Good times and bad times come and go. Because if I look at pagan or heathen groups, for instance on Telegram, then often people are talking about all these worldly things, all these political things and big panic. And then I think, no, that also has to do with balance.
Mhm.
Bad stuff comes, bad stuff goes.
Mhm.
Good things come, good things go.
Yeah.
Everything comes and goes. And if you really have this in your heart, if you really understand this, then life becomes far less stressful because you are not blown away by bad stuff
Yeah.
that easily. What do you think
Sometimes,
about this?
yeah, to be honest, it's sometimes quite hard to accept.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
life and death and people conquering other people and yeah, all the forces that are now in the world. Yeah, that's quite hard to accept. But if I think about the cyclic existence, uh, yeah, then that makes it easier. You are right, Martijn. It makes it easier to accept that good things are coming, bad things are coming, and they are also going. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, that clicked in my Buddhist life. When I was still a Buddhist monk, we were actually meditating on this, on the arrival and going away of phenomena. Phenomena, yeah. So I meditated many hours on this stuff, and then it becomes more and more second nature. That's why I'm not so easily blown away by what's going on, and that keeps your hedonism, your paganism, also more pure. That's if you're not too much involved mentally in what's going on today. And yeah, another little warning here for people. Please keep your political ideologies out of your hedonism, because you have people on the far left and you have people on the far right, and they try to squeeze in their ideologies into their paganism, and that's always perverting your paganism. I'm not really telling you what to do, but I don't let any ideology into my paganism, my hedonism. So, because ideology is just like religion. It's made to enslave you, to occupy your mind. Other people occupy their mind because you have to follow their ideas. Our ancestors didn't know about ideologies. That's very simple. So I recommend you, I'm not telling you, I'm recommending you to keep ideology out, no matter if it's on the far left or the far right. Just keep it out. Yeah, if you want to keep it pure.
And that's a gray area for me, because when I am honest, I think that nowadays the Western people are throwing away their own culture, you know, and thinking that, or is that, if that's my opinion, that I think that Western people throwing away the culture and the history. Yesterday I spoke to somebody. He said to me, no, we don't have a culture here in the Netherlands. Yeah, then I am actually a little bit more to the right when I think, oh, we really have a culture. We have a country, we have our habits, we have our history. And so that's a gray area, because it's hard to, in this world, how it is now, it's for me, it's quite hard to keep all the politic mindset out of my paganism. But you explained it right, Martijn. You have it about ideologies.
Yeah, like, because
that's different, I think. But,
yeah, because what we are doing, what the tribe, what the Fox is doing, is rediscovering basically our pre-Christian culture. Our there's not really an original culture, because you know that changed over the years too. But we are basically rediscovering our ancestors. So that's not an ideology. That's more like spiritual archaeology, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we are doing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, all I want to say is just try to keep it a bit pure what you are doing. There's spiritual stuff and there's political stuff. They are two different things, in my opinion. Yeah. It's just my opinion, by the way. I never speak the truth. I speak my opinion. Maybe your truth is different.
Well,
Well, it was a long talk, Dirkje.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we can talk more, but I think it's nice to finish this video.
Yeah, because we can make many more videos in this format of Heathen Reflections.
There are many nice topics to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. Well, it was nice speaking you again this way, Martijn.
Yeah, it's always nice to use Zoom.
Yeah.
Always nice.
And thank you for listening and hanging out with us. And we see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.